I have been patiently waiting for a lot of these altcoins in this market to officially bottom out because I really do think that we will witness some of the largest gains across the board for some of these altcoins. Like, for example, XLM. I've been talking about Stellar over the last couple weeks because, again, we've been witnessing a lot of great moves happening around the ecosystem, from major upgrades to, ecosystem developments to even major events like Meridian. All of these things have led to significant announcements, major expansions, and also partnerships as well, which we also love to see. But again, the main thing during this time that almost everyone is paying attention to is simply the fact that, number one, price action really hasn't been following at all. And that's because the market has been, selling off. Bitcoin has been down, and Bitcoin is definitely one of the key things that drives this market. We're not at that, point in the space where utility is the main driver of value. But once we do get to that point, I do think that a lot of these great projects are also going to be extremely expensive. So today, it's technically a great opportunity across the board for any utility-based project for the long term. However, we're also focused on the short term here. Now, do I think in the short term that XLM is officially topped out and that, we're done for this cycle? Absolutely not. Listen, we've been talking about a key level on this chart for XLM to hold. That level has been about roughly 30 cents. It seems as though we are finding some support on the 3-day right around those May highs. And also during this time, I am focused on RSI. RSI right now is down in this blue zone where we also bottomed back in June into the beginning of July. Also where we bottomed back in April. We did slightly hit this level back in March before we did have that push down in April. However, RSI was right around those levels anyways, and we were basically bottomed during that time. So the question here is, will this pattern play out again where RSI is back down into these levels? And are we going to bottom here and have a much larger surge on this chart to the upside? Well, it's only a matter of time until we see confirmation of that. We still need to watch Bitcoin during this time. I really do think that when we are looking at RSI on most of these altcoin charts, they are telling us that they are oversold. And I still think that XLM is oversold, just like most altcoins. And the main thing that I'm really looking at now when it comes to XLM is just flipping this midline around like 35 cents, getting back into that support zone from, September. And then we could build a floor on this level around 35 cents. And then we could start to target this blue zone up here at about roughly like 45 to almost 50 cents. After that's cleared, we really just target the highs going back to, December and November of last year. So we have a lot of work to do here. We're not out of the woods, but we definitely need to focus on, major signals that tell us if XLM is bottomed or not. Right now, RSI is telling us that we are possibly bottomed on XLM. But the main thing is Bitcoin can change this in a very quick way. So we need to really still focus on Bitcoin during this time. But talking about XLM and talking about some of the key things that are driving potential pushes on this chart, aka, becoming a price catalyst, is just simply major updates around the ecosystem. Like, for example, Whisk. We've been talking about this. This is Whisk Protocol 23, major upgrade to the entire network. Now, this is coming from Tamer Weller. We have next week, Stellar validators will vote on a protocol upgrade. It's a targeted fix for state archival inconsistencies we caught on October 9th. There was a bug. It was contained quickly. A solution is in flight, and the upgrade is scheduled for next week. Now, this could definitely be a big catalyst for XLM, but also on top of that, this is much bigger than just simply, fixing a bug. There's also a lot of things tied back to this upgrade, which I'm very excited about. And I just feel like a lot of major moves are being made right now around the ecosystem to ensure that Stellar is one of the best networks to not just, launch use cases on or tap into around payments, but also develop, right? Develop new use cases, expand DeFi use cases, expand on tokenization initiatives, institutional DeFi, all of those great use cases that we've been talking about for quite some time that will bring in the next wave of big money and also massive amounts of users. Well, these upgrades are crucial for that. they ensure that the network is as strong as possible, as secure as possible, and as efficient as possible. So I love to see this. And also it shows us just how active the team is around the network as well. Now, on top of this, we also got another big update from Tamer, which was this one with Coinage. This is talking about how Stellar is expanding beyond just infrastructure for dollar stablecoins. The Stellar vision is starting to play out, this evolution and moving away from a one-size-fits-all into a purposefully fit use case. Check this out.
The exciting thing for us is that we've always envisioned this space as having like many different assets, many different stable coins, both in terms of like different dollar stable coins, but also like different currency denominated stable coins. But it was kind of like disappointing throughout the years to see that we were basically stuck with like two flavors of dollars and that's it. And I think that right now we're seeing a lot more interest, and so it's like the Stellar vision is actually starting to play out. We're very excited to see, like we're seeing on Stellar, Mexican peso stablecoin, a bunch of other. LATAM is like really big, like we said, and so we're actually starting to see Forex going on chain, and we're also starting to see various yield-bearing assets, whether it's like yield-bearing stable coins or bonds. There are some very exciting projects around that in Stellar in the space. And so I think that this evolution and moving away from like a one-size-fits-all into a like purposely fit asset for use case, I think that's like very exciting.
And yeah, I mean, listen, we are starting to see so many new stablecoins launching on Stellar as well. I mean, listen, this is much bigger than just USD. Currently speaking, Stellar does have 9 stablecoins tied back to it. And by the way, take a quick look at the RWA value and the stablecoin market cap on Stellar. Both are up almost, 15% on stablecoins. It's like about 14% right now. RWA value about almost 23 flat. I mean, this is crazy to see. $630+ million in RWA value, $262 million in stablecoins, and also take a quick look at this massive step function from Franklin Templeton. I mean, on the 7th, right? Or sorry, on the 1st, we were at about roughly $467 million. On the 4th, we were at $602 million. So we are seeing a major jump to the upside here. And then also in terms of all of those stablecoins, right? We could see the stablecoins on the list here. So just like Tamara was saying, yeah, it's much bigger than just USD-backed stablecoins. We have an Australian digital dollar. We have a Japanese yen. We also have a ZUSD, which is a USD-backed stablecoin, USDC as well, USD-backed. Then we also have a Swiss franc. We have a euro. We have an MZAR stablecoin as well. We also have another euro stablecoin, and then we also have a Canadian dollar stablecoin as well. So there's so many stablecoins right now launched on Stellar, and this is showing us that we are seeing a significant shift around the ecosystem that's enabling the biggest markets to move on chain, aka the Forex market, which is a $7.5 trillion per day market that is becoming a reality on chain, which we love to see. And yes, Stellar is really kind of leading here with a lot of great stablecoin initiatives. We also know USV is going to be launching on Stellar. We don't see that here yet. So that's another stablecoin that will be launching on Stellar to make it 10. So we love to see that. And I don't think PYUSD is even on here as well. So again, there's so many other stablecoins that we're thinking about here that are simply just not being tracked right now on RWA.xyz. Which could be added in the coming days or even weeks, which could also change the amount of value tied back to Stellar and also really enable those, larger use cases to be tapped in. Now, talking about RWA value, talking about everything happening around Stellar, recently Messari Crypto did put out a new RWA report on Stellar. This happened on the 16th, and we have here Stellar has been a leading network for RWA issuance from the start. Now the network is home to more than $500 million in RWAs, excluding stablecoins, making it the 6th largest chain by RWA issuance. And I'm pretty sure right now, if we're going back to the networks tab, sorry, I know that this is making me sign in 1 second. So when we go back to the networks tab, we could see that Stellar is number 8 currently. I know that at one point in time, it was around like the number 4 spot. Obviously, over time, things have changed, but it's just kind of crazy to still think that, XLM is right around like the number 8 spot, right next to Solana. It's above BNB chain, above XRP, above, some very significantly larger networks, which is also showing us how undervalued XLM is and probably overlooked as well when it comes to tokenization. Now, also thinking about tokenization itself, let's tap into this report. So right off the rip, we have key insights. Stellar has been a leading network for RWA issuance from the start. In April of 2021, the first regulated money market fund on a blockchain, Franklin Templeton's FOBXX, via the Benji token, was issued on Stellar. That's how early Stellar was in the tokenization boom. They were right at the forefront of the tokenization boom, which again just goes to show you how prepared Stellar has been since day one. Now, on top of this, we have in September at its Meridian conference hosted in Rio de Janeiro, the Stellar Development Foundation announced access to more than $3 billion in RWAs, including stablecoins now available on Stellar. RWAs announced in September include Ondo's US dollar yield token, USDY, equities and bonds tokenized by Mercado Bitcoin, and multifamily and hospitality real estate properties tokenized by Red Swan. RWAs, excluding stablecoins, on Stellar are valued at over $533.3 million, up 25% over the year. Franklin Templeton's Benji leads the category with $496.3 million, a 93.1% market share, followed by other assets like equity funds, SPXUX, and TechX. RWA composability in DeFi for purposes like lending and borrowing is being realized on Stellar by platforms like Centrifuge, which is bringing freely transferable wrapped US Treasuries and collateralized loan obligations by Janus Henderson funds to Stellar as well. So yeah, I mean, we're just witnessing significant adoption here. We're watching as, the Stellar network really wakes up in a massive way. And just taking a quick look at the RWA market around Stellar, I mean, take a quick look at this. It's crazy to see this ecosystem, but it's expanding rapidly. We're watching as some of these networks expand in such a quick way, and this is going to bring so much money into these ecosystems. I mean, just going off of the real estate side, $100 million from Red Swan. I think Centrifuge said that they're bringing $20 million. Also, another $100 million was tied back to another name on here. I'm pretty sure I'm blanking on the name, but it was announced at Meridian. I mean, we're talking about right now, yeah, we might be at $637 million, but by the end of this year, we could easily close in on $1 billion plus on Stellar. So we're watching as some of the biggest moves are being made around some of the, well-known networks that are at this point. I would say that Stellar has become I would say it's a very overlooked network because it's not being talked about nearly as much as some of these other projects. I feel like it's kind of a hidden secret in this space at this point because it's kind of living in the shadows of XRP and some of these other larger utility-based projects. But, Stellar is definitely one of those projects that I really see becoming a very big player in this space. And, when we think about Stellar, it's at number 14. I know that it's not like a small network. However, the market cap, $10.38 billion, fully diluted value, $16.21 billion. I mean, we could easily see XLM 10x from today, and it really would not surprise me at all. We're talking about a fully diluted value of $160 billion. To a lot of people, they might say, oh, that's crazy to think about, but with everything happening around Stellar and comparing it back to like some of these other networks, like BNB has $153 billion tied back to it. XRP has $149 billion tied back to it. Solana has $103 billion tied back to it right now. But at some point in time, some of these networks had well over 120, 30, 40, 50 plus billion dollars tied back to them. So when we're thinking about XLM, I do think that it could have a 5 to 10x moment from where we are right now. And it really would not shock me at all because, again, with everything happening around Stellar, I mean, this year has been incredible for a lot of these great projects, but Stellar has been making a ton of noise for the last like 12, 24 months. So I'm expecting XLM to have a much larger bounce in this market once everything kind of cools off around this like negative price action. And once we start to see the bounce on Bitcoin, I think that we will really kind of watch some of these projects like XLM bounce in a big way. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because there's more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.